What's up, everybody? This is your boy Armand Anderson Bell here and excited with a new and fresh edition of Standing in Your Truth podcast. I am excited and honored to be joined tonight as a very topic that is close to my very own heart, life beyond drag. I have with me a local, a legend, Mr. Stephen Blue. Say hi, Stephen.
How are you?
So I'm going to give you a brief bio and we are going to start our conversation. Tonight's conversation, we are dealing and discussing what it's like to balance our lives, both in drag and out of drag as an entertainer. We'll also be talking about different things. So if you have questions for either of us, please submit them. I'm also streaming on my phone right now, so it is a small delay. So if you have a question, submit them in the message box, and I'll try to get to them as well as Stefan. We're just gonna have a good time. I'm so excited to be back. Um, One of my friends, Corettas, can you see the questions on your timeline?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wonderful. Oh, hey, Victor, we got a hello from Brazil. I don't know if that's one. I think there's one. Yeah, so we getting it in so far. I'm really excited. So let me chat. I'm touching my laptop like I can touch this touch screen.
How are you, Victor? I got to meet Victor when he visited Los Angeles.
Oh, okay, wonderful. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Blue is a fashion designer who currently resides in Southern California. In addition to fashion design, you may also know him well as the living, live singing drag queen, Miss Summer Breeze. Give it up for Miss Summer Breeze, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much. Summer is a well decorated singer in the art of female impersonation. Hailing from the Midwest city of East St. Louis. All right. Do you know my husband, Nelly? Summer Breeze comes with an array of talents. Since beginning over 20 years ago, Summer Breeze, you have to give me a sec, I'm multitasking. Summer Breeze comes in with an array of talents. Since beginning over 20 years ago, Summer Breeze has not only commanded many stages, but has also made her mark with designing evening gowns for a number of performers. Excuse me, it's not going to do it right there. Around the globe. Now, as a fashion designer, Stefan is looking to take the fashion industry by storm with his new fashion line, Stefan Miguel. Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, lovers and haters, haters and lovers, welcome to another edition of Standing in Your Truth podcast. Let's begin. So, Stefan, I really appreciate you coming on. We've been working on this podcast or this actual segment for a while. It was actually the next episode we were going to do before the corona officially shut everything down.
Right.
I'd reached out to Stefan for a while. I'd been wanting to work with Stefan for a while and going back and forth, but the studio was closed. So I'm really excited that we have this opportunity. I'm excited about doing things on Zoom. Honey, you just adapt, honey. So don't miss Corona ain't keeping me down. So, you're currently on the East Coast right now, right?
I'm currently in Florida, Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, baby, I heard that the girls, the big girls, ain't no joke out there.
I don't know. I think I want to say Angelica Sanchez
Hmm.
performed down here from time to time, as well as Desiree DeMornay has been down here. Chevelle
Okay.
Brooks.
Oh
So
yeah,
just
I know Chevelle. I know Chevelle. Yeah.
mm,
So it's I'm really glad. I'm thankful that you're able to do this. We had other guests on, but I was supposed to do it last week, but things didn't show up. So everything happens for a reason. So I want to start off with just some basic who, what, when, where, why, and then we'll get to the meat of the conversation because this is something that we don't talk about in our communities, either amongst ourselves or others, and that's trying to balance your drag persona and your personal life, the ups and downs, what it has to go through, and just gives people an insight because a lot of people see on the surface, and thank God for Rue. I've worked with Rue before. I know all the girls. The show is fabulous and it's done a lot for our community, but on the other side is it has some other things going on. So let's start basically with who both Stefan and Summer Breeze is.
well, as my bio says, I do design clothes for many, as well as currently I'm really focusing on creating my own line so that I can get into the fashion show arena,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the city of Los Angeles. and hopefully within the city of New York as well. Currently building my website and just creating my line. So everything is pretty much geared around, the fashion design portion of what I do. I've kind of put the female impersonation part on the back burner for a minute, and probably probably permanently. But
We in that same boat, honey.
so most likely it may be a permanent back burner situation. But either way, my primary focus right now is just to get my fashion line up and running, and just take it from there and see where it goes.
Okay. Now, who is that diva extraordinaire, Miss Summer Breeze?
Summer Breeze is an entertainer. I got my start in the city of St. Louis, Missouri, and that was back when I was 22. So it'll be 20 years October of this year.
Oh, okay.
Um, and I started off. I've always been kind of like, I guess you would say, medium size. I didn't start gaining the weight until I decided to run in national pageantry,
Mm.
because in national pageantry, you either had to qualify for Miss or you had to qualify for Plus. But in order to qualify for Plus, you needed to meet a certain weight requirement. And in order to qualify for Miss and be comfortable, you needed to be a certain weight. So I was closer to Plus. I would say when I started doing drag, I probably was about 180 pounds. And you had to be 200, and I think you had to be 200 pounds for US of A and 230 pounds for Continental. So I slowly but surely progressed my way up to 230 pounds. I would not recommend anyone do that ever in their life.
That's
But
really interesting. I never knew that. I've done local talent shows and pageants here in LA, but never on that grand scale. I've done plus size, um, themed pageants here, but I guess the foundation of everything are on the East Coast. So was that a difficult decision that you made to transition? Because you're already dealing with the transition from being a guy to a drag entertainer. Now you have the requirements or the stipulations of being known as a plus size entertainer, right?
well, in my mind, I think I felt like it would not be, it would be easy to lose the weight. So
Mhm.
gain the weight, to qualify for the pageant. And, when you're tired of it, just lose the weight. But as I got older, I started noticing it was more and more difficult to lose these pounds that I had gained for the sake of a pageant. So the weight just kind of stayed on. But
Oh
no,
wow.
it wasn't a hard decision at all. I love eating, never had a problem with chewing.
Mhm.
So it's something I've always loved to do.
So was that so let's go back to you deciding to become a drag entertainer. How did that transpire?
Well, to be honest about it, I became a drag queen. I should say I started doing drag because I was depressed as a gay male in
Hmm.
the scene.
Oh,
Uh,
Lord have mercy.
I did.
We mirror each other so much.
Oh wow! I didn't think that I connected well with people, especially connected well with other guys. So I didn't feel comfortable, and I guess my confidence probably was not where it needed to be coming out of out of the closet, as they say.
Mm.
Um, so I started doing drag because I needed to do something that could possibly save my life. I felt like I was in I thought felt like I was at a crossroads of, am I going to commit suicide or am I going to find a reason to stay here?
Hmm.
And drag gave me the outlet that I needed to be able to push on and fall in love with some aspect of myself, because deep down I knew that I was the one who created this image. I'm getting a phone call, so I'll ignore this. So ignore this dinging if you hear it.
Mhm.
So I basically started doing drag because I needed a way to survive. And it was a bittersweet decision. When I started doing drag, I didn't know that I was signing up for so much more. You know, uh, you know, I knew I was talented. I knew I always was able to sing and everything like that. So being able to get on a stage and actually perform to an audience, actually feel comfortable performing to an audience, because that's like big deal.
Yes,
You
God.
know, so you get comfortable, you start performing to this audience, and you wear all of these pretty clothes and you got your makeup on, but there's a dark side to making this decision on becoming a drag queen.
Mhm.
They don't tell you beforehand. Like, no one tells you, hey, now, the moment you become a drag queen, this will become your label. Oh, and by the way, it's a stigma. you know, it's, it's almost like being HIV positive and the world knows about it, because when you go to meet guys, or if some guy, finds you attractive and wants to date you and everything, everybody is running up at him, behind your back, telling him, "Oh, you shouldn't date him. That's a drag queen." You and then you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So if you
Yeah.
tell them that you do drag from the start, they don't want nothing to do with you.
Right. Or they fetishize about you.
Or that, uh, or if you don't tell them that you do drag up front, then it becomes, well, why didn't you tell me that you did drag? Like it was like a plague. So I
Right.
didn't realize that that was something that I was signing up for when I decided to do drag, and it ended up over time, it ended up being its own detriment. So I started doing drag to escape from being myself. And then now that I do drag, it's coming back to bite me in the ass as well. So I just had all kinds of different experiences making that decision to be a drag queen. And then I
Right.
had one individual to tell me, because I did let them know that I did drag from the start. So I guess he wasn't really familiar with what drag was, or I guess he pictured somebody that looked kind of masculine but wearing a dress or something like that.
Mhm.
So he had came to one of my shows at the complex, and when he saw that I was so feminine looking, that was a throw off to him, and he told me, "Oh, you look too much like a girl." You know, you,
Mhm.
so that became a problem. So it's always something. Drag was always something for me. So I've had my ups and downs and my loves and my dislikes about drag. So
Right.
here we go.
For me personally, it felt like I was coming out of the closet again because I felt like I was having this dirty secret, and it brought back stigma. It brought we have Michael, the Queen in here. Hi, Michael. It says, I hate this ignorance that our community has when if you do drag, you're undateable. It's so sad. And that's basically it. I've had that. I stopped last year when I turned 40 because I didn't want to get caught up in Imani. I'd built so much up, and I started to lose me. And we're having this conversation because you and I are not the only ones that go through this. And I'm grateful that you're able to come and share our experience, because there's resistance we get. I remember when I first started drag, I would tell my family, and I would always put on like the end, oh, I'm not going to become a transgender.
Oh yeah.
They didn't understand that. Luckily for me, I'm very blessed and I'm very proud that I am very passable. I can put on just a small, you and I, and again, our stories mirror each other so much. I don't have that problem. And I know most people, even in the gay community, um, it hones in on their gayness. So if you are a drag queen, not knowing that this is what I do for a living, I'm not this person. If I wanted to be trans, then I would have made that transition. That's never been my ministry, as I like to say. If it was, I would have done it a while ago. So you're dealing with that. You're also dealing with other transgender girls who, oh, well, Miss Thing, why don't you take some hormones? Why don't you get some moans? Why don't you, and they're trying to, and then when you're more passable than them, then they see you as a threat, which to me is always a separation. And I've had that experience personally. I'm not sure about you, but my experience, my trans sisters, I have the ones who love me for who I am and love Imani, but then I also have the ones who don't. They wouldn't invite me to do shows, or I had to prove myself to them. Then when I start acting and doing professionalism, oh, you think you're all that. And that's my journey. Can you give me a little bit more into your journey from, once you started and things like that?
Well, okay. So again, I started doing drag because of the depression, and I wanted to do as much as I could to escape being Stephen, because in my mind, Stephen wasn't being accepted or embraced at all by anybody. So when I started doing drag, Summer Breeze didn't have a hard time ramping up. So Summer Breeze, I put a lot of work early on into Summer Breeze. Like I'm talking about getting up at 2 in the morning out of the bed to, paint my face just so I can make sure that I'm teaching myself different ways of painting. So I didn't have a hard transition ramping up. I had my small period of being rough around the edges, but I cleaned up pretty quick. But I think I cleaned up too quick, because when I cleaned up, I think
Hello, somebody.
I think I started wanting to live vicariously through this character that I had created, and so I did have the moment of wanting to transition into being a woman. I had that moment in my early 20s. I think I was about 23, 24-ish when I went to my mother and I told my mother, I said, well, I'm thinking about getting on hormones. And my mother was already struggling with the knowledge of me being gay. That was already a struggle for her. And then to know that I was doing drag, that was that was already killing it. So
Right.
when I came to her and told her I was thinking about doing hormones, my mama was like, well, I tell you what, I will disown you if you become a girl.
Wow.
And it wasn't a wow moment for me. Me and my mother have always had the ability to communicate straightforward. We don't, sugarcoat much between us. So I was like, I thought about it a minute, and I was like, you know what, Stephen, what is making you consider changing? Why are you wanting to change? Are you wanting to change for the right reasons or for the wrong ones?
Right.
You know,
Hold on, Stephen. I just want to put this disclaimer out for anybody who's listening or watching. We're we're not downplaying the trans experience.
no,
We're coming from experience of right. We're coming from our personal experience of gay men who are entertainers who have thought. And so I don't want any of my friends or anybody watching in their feelings. We are not discrediting the trans experience. Stephen and I both know the difference. We have friends, we have family who are trans. We're speaking from our personal experience as gay men who entertain and drag. So I just want to put that out there before, the girls get into whatever the case may be. So go ahead, sweetie. I'm sorry.
So with me, I wanted to make sure that I thought it out. I've always been an individual who wanted to think things out through and through to make sure that whatever decision I come up with, it was a decision that was well thought out. It wasn't just no frivolous, let me hop to this. So after thinking about it, I had to understand that it was a lack of love for Stefan. This is not a reason to transition, or at least it wasn't one for me, and I know that there are some trans girls out there who did transition because of the lack of love for who they were as men.
Right.
So I get it, and it could have happened to me, and I would have lived my life just like a trans individual. I wouldn't have cared.
Right.
But after thinking about it, and I realized that it was a lack of love for Stephen, and it was that I was starting to embrace the summer breeze person that I had created. I had to understand that, okay, it's time to cut summer breeze off.
Mm-hmm.
So around that time, I stopped performing. I gave away my hip pads, my drag. I was giving away everything because I felt like I need to take this time to start loving me.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed to separate myself from this stage. I needed to separate myself from this character that I had created, that everybody in the city has started to embrace, as well as myself. And I'm like, I'm believing the hype, because what people don't understand, what the general public doesn't understand, is being a drag queen, you're standing on that stage and people are running their hard earned money to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like they
If you're
are,
good.
if you're good, they are actually like tipping you like big dollars, you
Right.
know. So, and you get all of this instant gratification. It's everybody is cheering you on. Everybody is telling you how sickening you are, how beautiful and how talented. You're getting all of this stuff, but it was coming to Summer Breeze. None
Right.
of that was coming to Stefan.
Right.
So
And we're like passengers watching. It's sort of like um the on Get Out, where the persona is, we're just in the background. They
right
don't did the lobotomy and we're watching everything happen
around,
and around who you've created. And like I talked to Imani, or as of Imani, as a third person, because even my friends would tell me, bitch, you're spending more money or more. I have more clothes. At one point in time, as Imani, I wasn't taking care of Armand. And I'm sad to, and I see it now, and I'm glad of the journey. For me personally, it took being a drag queen for me being comfortable being a plus size Black gay man.
hmm
And that's something hard for people to acknowledge or understand, but that's my journey.
they don't
I would
know.
come home and I would do the poetic justice Janet Jackson in the mirror crying as I'm taking my makeup off, because I just got told how beautiful, how talented, how fabulous. I'm gonna throw a little, one of my cousins is in here, my good cousin. I performed at the Catch. I even made her cry. So
Mhm.
that made, we were joking, but it was something good. And you get on stage, it is addicting to have that accolade, have that appreciation.
Right.
But what we don't acknowledge in ourselves and what people don't see is that it can become detrimental and take over sometimes.
It does. It takes over you. It's almost like being, uh, like having your body being taken over by this entity
Mm-hmm.
that is getting everything that you've always wanted, all the adoration that you've always wanted from people. And so, I don't have the opportunity often to explain that to people. So hopefully they are watching today, because it's very insightful to just kind of know what life as a drag queen can be, especially being a Black male who wants to do this.
Right.
Because, we tend to be very talented individuals. And when we get on that stage, we give it all we got. And, and you get back everything that you give out.
Right.
So I've been on national stages with these pageants. I have gotten standing ovations. I have won talents at national pageants my first time going. I've had some remarkable experiences just doing drag. Drag has really done a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Before I continue, I want to acknowledge that we do have a question from Victor.
Yes,
uh,
yes.
what meant to you be a drag? And then he says, you consider yourselves more heard. You are definitely more heard
Yes.
through your art form.
It's
People,
it's more acceptable.
they didn't want to hear from me. They did
Exactly.
not want to hear from me. They wanted to hear from Summer Breeze. If I
Mm-hmm.
went to the club and I did not have makeup and a wig on, they would always come up to me and say, where is Summer Breeze? As
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not Summer Breeze.
Right. That bitch is in the bag somewhere. You want her? She in the bag somewhere.
And when I retired, when I let drag go for a couple of years, everybody would say, "Oh, you didn't lock Summer Breeze up in a treasure chest," or something. So
Mhm.
it was just strange to me.
Right. I always say, she's on a vacation in the French Riviera, honey.
I
You
mean,
know, it's so I and again our stories mirror each other so much because I was the first drag queen to be the queen of the Pasadena Doodah Parade. I've gotten drag icon awards. My first acting gig, which cemented me as an actor, was doing a web series in drag. I don't think that I would have been able, this little fat boy from South Central Los Angeles, I don't think I would have had that opportunity as an actor. And so when that door opened for me, bitch, I stuck my stiletto pump in that bitch, and I've been acting. Then I brought Armond along. Imani helped Armond become an actor.
yeah,
I have more drag gigs in acting as Imani than I do myself. I think I may have maybe one or two things. I've done a commercial, I've done some things, but I've got stuff on television, on shows as Imani. My
you know,
last gig, I did, the glow from Netflix. They were at a drag club, and so I did that. I was dressed as Tina Turner. That was wonderful, and again, it was because of her. So I had to stop it for me, and that's a hard decision, and we don't talk about that. So
yeah,
let's go through that conversation because again, we're speaking for our sisters and brothers, however you want to call it, who can't speak for themselves. And I get that. I'm blessed beyond measure to have a platform as well as the ability to express myself. But this is something that plagues our community so often that we don't even speak about it.
oh yeah. Anything gay, I can tell anybody. We take such a chance, just being black and
Mm,
wanting to express ourselves in that way at all. So we get a lot of ridicule, not only from our families, but we get it from our friends. Sometimes we get it from the black guys that we are attracted to. You're attracted to these dudes, and I just told somebody recently, the voice that I have right now is probably the deepest my voice has ever been. So when
right.
I was in my 20s and my early 30s, this voice was way lighter than this, so it was just really bad. And guys just were not attracted to that. So
Right.
it was just like I've always had this love hate thing going on with drag and with Summer Breeze.
Right.
Like I said, I went ahead and I embraced Summer Breeze to get away from Stephen. Then I took the little hiatus that I needed to take off so that I can start learning how to love me as a person.
Hello, somebody.
Then I made the decision that I love drag. I found it in myself that drag was something that I honestly did love. So I went back to it. I went back to drag because I felt like, okay, Stefan, life is going to be what life is going to be. Do what you enjoy doing. And
Hmm.
since you now enjoy drag, go back to doing drag, regardless if you was going to be, regardless if a guy was going to ever be attracted to you or not. It doesn't matter. Do what you do. And by that time, I had started designing, my own clothes,
Right.
and I can sit here and talk to you right now and let you know that every dream that I've ever had that needed to come true, it came true through the vessel of Summer Breeze.
Yeah. And that's
I
a hard pill to swallow, the balance of it all.
Yeah, but I don't feel bad about it because I did. Although I was in the back seat looking at Summer Breeze do it, I did get the chance to see standing ovations time after time after time, singing live on national stages.
Hmm.
I did get a chance to learn how to communicate with people eye to eye by being able to hold a microphone at a club and communicating with people under the shield of the makeup.
Right.
Things that I just was not going to be comfortable with doing. As Stefan, I grew the comfort under the cloak of Summer Breeze. And I
Hmm.
learned how to take the stuff that came from Summer Breeze and incorporated it in my day to day. You
Right.
know, when it came to being able to manage certain departments with jobs that I had in the past, all of that confidence stemmed from what I got from Summer Breeze. So I had to learn how to fall in love with the benefits of being a drag queen because
Hmm.
there were so many benefits from it.
Right. You don't, and again, we don't talk about it, but and people don't see it, the accolades and the, just even today, I'm sitting here with my, I had two people say, ma'am, they called me a woman, and I'm sitting there like, do I look like some bull dagger to you? So I don't know what the energy. I had my, my facial mask on. I'm at Target. I'm at Jersey Mike's, and the little girl, she says, "Oh, what did you want on your sandwich, ma'am?" And I looked, I said, "Do you not see?" I pulled I said, "Do you not see this mustache?" "Oh, I'm sorry." I was like, "Okay." Then I get on the bus. Guys talking. He said, "Ma'am, do you have any change?" So it didn't bother me. So I'm grappling with that. I'm not Imani now. So, and I know, and then you have to ask yourself, was that person being funny, or they just what it was? Was it the energy? But I was like, and it happens a lot, especially once I come back from a show. I'm wash face, no base. I'm already heavy, and and I'm like, do I look like some butch lesbian? Like, why would you saw me? So I had to deal with that, but I hear what you're saying because I've had to do the same thing. The things that I've done as Imani, I never would have think I would have been able to do as myself. And I've taken those skills and those ways because people don't see it. And I sit back and I look at some of my videos. It really is an out of body experience for me. Cause me, baby, I don't know how and I tell people I don't know. I don't worry about size. I don't worry. I feel beautiful. I feel like I'm 100 pounds. I'm not worried about when Imani walks in the room. I enjoy being the only whatever. I enjoy working with folks half my age, half my size, because I'm there for me and they give me that respect, whether they do or they don't. When they don't, they get anyway.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? It's a thing. You walk into the room and when I first started, people said, "Oh, they always go to that rhetoric, oh, you're making fun of women." And I'm like, that's the last thing. If anything, I'm honoring the women, the beautiful plus size women in my life, my mother, my aunts, the women that I saw. I developed Imani's characteristic, her mannerism from the beautiful Black women that I have in my life. Other girls do different things with their character. I knew that and even everything down from the name was a spiritual thing for me.
Right.
Imani is the principle of Kwanzaa, which means, of giving and things. And in Phoenix, I was like, well, what better way to arise from transformation than a big Black man turning into a big, beautiful Black woman? So for me, my journey, everything has been spiritual. I envisioned my name in lights
Mm-hmm.
from the wild. And I started with two other names. I think I started with Amanda DeCopier, and then I started with another name. But it wasn't until I said Imani Phoenix and I seen it. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, this is it. And so you develop character, and people respect you the way you handle what a lot of these young girls don't understand or they don't realize is that you're fighting, number one, being a person of color, and then you're fighting being a drag queen. It's
Mm-hmm.
enough assholes in the world. Be professional. Be professional. And that's a skill that I'm glad that I learned from being Imani.
Right. Yeah. No, it's definitely an experience, and one that I had to grow into appreciating. I wouldn't trade anything for it.
Right.
Like I said, to be able to communicate the way I can communicate, to be able to stand on a stage by myself with a microphone and sing, live in front of an audience that's there to critique you. Um, to be able to do all of this, it's carried me places where I would not have normally gone otherwise.
Mhm.
I was able to work on AJ and the Queen with RuPaul, and that was a
Yeah,
success.
wait a minute. The way they cut that scene, baby. 1 minute you at the other end of the hallway,
Right.
and I was sitting there like, baby, you in a totally different outfit. But see, the girls on the outside don't realize how daunting it is being in drag on set.
All day. It's a
And we ain't no petite girls,
all that.
so they don't realize that. And then again, you're carrying that energy, so you're acting twice. You're acting as a man dressing as a woman, and then you're acting at whatever your character may be. Whether you may see it for 5 seconds, but you and I know, baby, that was at least a good 6, 7 hours. You spend more time waiting.
In
Just
5 inch heels, by the way.
you said what?
In 5 inch heels, by the way.
Right, you're tucked, baby. It ain't nothing. I'll say this, baby. It takes a real man to tuck our nuts and our stuff, baby.
Ooh, let me tell you,
Trust.
don't play. Not, don't play.
When you putting all this together, baby, I couldn't wait till I got home because it was like a can of biscuits, baby. Just boop. Just,
Oh, get
but
home.
yeah,
Child, I
but
took
yeah,
that stuff off at the car.
okay. And again, people are seeing externally the joy that we have, and we do. We're again. I'm grateful. You and I are both grateful for our journeys and stuff. We're talking about the aftermath and what it has done leading up to. Again, this is the conversation that you have not seen, that you have not heard of. I'm praying and hoping that this will lead to more conversations with other entertainers because we're not the only one. I've had secret conversations. I called it the Marilyn Monroe effect. And the reason why I say Marilyn Monroe is Marilyn Monroe's real name is Norma Jean. And Marilyn Monroe was manufactured, meaning everything from her hair, she would have a 1/4 inch heel on the other foot. So that way she had a natural sway with her walk. And there was an old show, I think it was on um, HBO called Marilyn Monroe, but she actually had a conversation. She's dressed as Marilyn Monroe, and in the mirror, Norma Jean is talking to her.
Mm.
And this was way before I started doing drag. So when I started doing it, I remembered that. And again, that's how you feel, is that you're looking on the outside.
Yeah.
I've had men, you know, are thrilled. I felt like mahogany, honey. Men love me, women love me. Everyone loves Imani, but no one loved Armand, or
No.
no one loved Armand because Armand was not loving Armand. Let's talk about that.
Well, they I keep hearing this. Well, Stephen, you got to love yourself. If you love yourself, someone else will fall in love with you.
Mhm.
If you love who you are, you can show someone else how to love you. Honey, I am 42 years in, babe. I have been.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. I have been loving myself because there is no one else there.
Hello, somebody.
Outside of my family. My family, I get plenty of love from my family, but honey, as far as a partner, you know, it's me. It's been me. It's been me. I've had one relationship in my life. It started when I was 38. He was 70 at the time, and we had very little in common, but we respected each other and we had love for each other. But
Mhm.
I can't say that I was deep in love with him. You know what I'm saying? Because we didn't have the connect. You have to be able to connect with someone. And to be in my first relationship in life at 38, oh my God. My friends had been in and out of relationships and had a puppy love and broke up a
Yes,
couple of
child.
times, a few fights, you know.
I've been there, baby.
They didn't had it. But at 38, I had not had any of that type of experience. And at 42, I really still have not had any
Mhm.
of that kind of experience. So the experience that I have had has been put Stefan first, Summer Breeze second, and don't have no hope for love. You just pretty much live your life without the hope or, that it's going to ever happen for you,
You
you
lucky
know.
you ain't in front of me because I'll throw something at you right now. Because I'm on that again, where our stories mirror each other so much. I've actually kind of given up the hope because it's all these expectations in our community. And let's talk again about what our community doesn't talk about again is the no fats, no femmes. So we're dealing with racism on top. And for those who don't know, there is a small and I've had conversations with my heterosexual counterparts who think that because we all fall under the umbrella, hey Viva, everything is kumbaya. I'm one of the bitches that'll let you know it's not.
Yeah.
And I can only speak for Los Angeles, California. I've not gone outside, so I don't know.
Several states.
Okay. Well, speak on this, sis, because I can't. I know that what's prevalent in the gay community is a sense for hypermasculinity, muscles, and things like that. And it's sad that as Armand, I was ignored or barely looked at. But Imani, baby, I was getting lesbians hitting on me, so-called straight men. I got to the point where it became redundant. I would get a friend's request. Now, my display picture has both me and Imani. You can
Mhm.
go through my profile and see that I am not a transgender, nor am I a biological female. So for them to go through that, and they would get on there, hi, how you doing? I'm fine. Oh, you're so pretty. Are you married? Do you have kids? It got to the point where I cut them at the knees real quick. I said, look, I appreciate you, but I'm a man and my dick is probably bigger than yours. How can I help you?
Oh
Then
wow.
they blocking me.
Well, that's a little blunt.
I'm just saying it got to the point because another sad point in our community is the killing and the harassment of our trans sisters. So I never wanted to take that as a green light. So I knew that as an entertainer, I'm going to give it to you up front. That's about the only thing I do. No chaser, straight up. This is who I am. I've had men say, "Oh, can be Imani when we take care of things?" And I did for a while. Some of my best escapades have been in one of my throwaway gilders because I'm not performing in my good wigs, honey. So I had certain wigs that I would entertain at home in. And then I started feeling I was doing it to get affection and love. They were doing it for whatever the case may be. And so somewhere along we meet in the middle, but I was like, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep doing this to myself. And then on top of that, for me spiritually, was saying the karma's gonna come back around because I've been with men who were, not same sex attracted or just had a fetish for the girls.
Mm.
And on the surface, you say, well, that's not my business. But then I was like, it is because I have to know better for myself. So for me personally, that was why at 40, I was like, let's put Imani on the back burner.
Hmm. Well, I can say honestly that I never made it a practice to sleep with men in drag.
Mm,
The moment they would hit on me while in drag was that same moment that they were told, "Well, honey, this is gonna wash down the sink when I get home. You
right,
need to know that." You know,
right. You
oh,
want
you
these
ain't
titties?
gonna,
Here.
oh, you don't live in drag. You don't live like this. No, I do not live like this. You wouldn't do it for me, baby. Baby, I would take good care of you if you.
I've had all those invitations, baby.
No, dear. When I get home, all this shit is gonna rinse down the sink.
Wait,
We
Stephen,
gonna
for those
go.
for those who are not old enough, do you remember that scene in I'm gonna get you sucker? Where he
Yes. Oh, yes.
baby, you
Everything,
like all this? You want all this? Boop.
everything coming off. Everything.
I
But
ain't taking no legs off, baby, but I'm dead near taking the leg off.
exactly. But when it comes to the no fats, no films, I'm proud to now know at my age that that's not always true. I've been blessed to at least witness heavy set men that are bigger than me who are in great relationships with smaller guys.
Mhm.
So it does happen. Now, I'm not going to say it happens as frequently, as frequently as it may need to, but it does happen that a person connects with a person's heart and their mind versus their image.
Right.
But as far as LA is concerned, the
Mm,
experience that I've gotten out of LA is that no one is looking for the black man. The
mm,
black man is looking for a Hispanic or a white person. The Hispanic is looking for a Asian or a white person or another Hispanic. Uh, Nobody is checking for the black man, no matter what size he is.
mhm.
And when they date, or when I should say, when they get with a black man, they want the black man to be a top. They want to get They want all of that going,
The
and then
muscles, everything.
as soon as they get the dick, then they gone. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they're not taking the black man to their house. They ain't taking them to the barbecues of the family reunion, none of that. So in California, hardly anybody is looking for a black man, no matter what size he is.
Right.
You know, so everybody is wanting a white man or a Hispanic man, and so on and so forth. Nobody is looking for the black man. Now let's talk about as far as the country-wide situation is.
Mm-hmm.
I just I get this feeling that we suffer as black men because we don't have the sub communities that white men have established. So if you
Mm-hmm.
look at it, white men have this bear community,
Right.
and they pretty much take ownership of that community,
Oh
even
yeah.
on the magazines, anything
They,
regarding bears. They very seldom put the black bear image out there. It's all about the white bears. So
right.
this gives white men, now think about this gives white men the flexibility to be fat, hairy, ugly. They get
Hello,
to
somebody.
they get to be funky. They don't. A lot of them don't bathe. They get to be very themselves, if you know what I
Right.
mean.
Mm-hmm.
And they still get in relationships, no matter how fat they are, no matter how scruffy they look, no matter how funky they may be, just simply because they fit in that bear community category. They are
Right.
able to live a happy life with a partner. They're able to grow their wealth. This is something that black men we suffer. We're not
Right.
able, when we don't get together, we don't grow wealth, we don't buy houses, we're not taking vacations together. We're missing out on a whole life as a whole. I know there are some black relationships out there. I'm not trying to say this is everybody, but they are the exception.
And again, disclaimer: we're speaking from our personal experience.
Well, not just our personal experience, but in this respect, they are the exception to the rule. Those few black relationships that are doing very well.
Right.
The common relationship with black men is we don't get together. When you see a black man that's doing very well, he got a white man on his arms. It's just as bad in the gay community as it is in the straight community.
Right.
You know,
And they don't never see the parallel.
they never see it. You know, and I think it's very unfortunate that when we get something going, the only time we feel like we can do something major in this world, like buy property or open a business, we have to go get Peter.
Right.
Go date Peter in order to buy a house with a man.
Right. And again, that for there, I'm a product of mixed race. I have mixed race family, so we're not talking about it as a bad thing. We're talking about our experience and what it means to us. So again, I'm always trying to make sure, folks always want to, they'll turn your words around and things like that. But this, like, even I've looked at the bear community and I don't fit in because I'm not this degree of hairy, or I'm not about to be submissive. I'm sorry. You put your we can play, but I'm not into that whole. And again,
Right,
I've
but you got
tried
all
to
these
do,
fetishes.
I've tried to see the whole leather community, and I've gone to parties. I don't fit in because even then, they, now mind you, they have, I'm not going to name the group because it's a local group here. I've gone to their events. They were joking because they didn't want me coming as Imani. They have their sister group is called Pearls. And somebody was like, "Oh, you can join the Pearls," which was the girls. And I'm sitting there like, not everybody here is a masculine, baby. Don't get that twisted. Because even the person that was telling me was tuna fish casserole. But they felt funny saying, "Oh, well, if you want to come and drag, you have to join the Pearls." Or everything, I'm versatile. So everything to them is either a top or bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, no. So I didn't fit into that community. In the drag community, because I'm not, or my drag is not eyebrows way up to here, black, that's not my ministry. Thank God I can push through. But I was made to feel bad for who I am. And we have to, that's what I'm learning. I'm learning more to love myself. even in this quarantine, all my crafting, all my skills, and I didn't realize, like, bitch, that's another skill, that's another job for you. I went out to become a professional makeup artist, having a background in makeup from doing drag. And I decided to take it a step further and went to a school that specialized in professional makeup on set. So I have credits as an actor and as a makeup artist, something I
Mm,
never thought that I would do. But I'm made to feel bad when I mention my accolades, when I mention the things that I do. And I'm like, why does it bother you? I personally feel there's enough for everybody, honey. What I'm trying to do, you can't do, and what you doing, I shouldn't do. But
right.
I'm realizing that people don't feel that way. And I'm like, okay, so I have to take a step back and be like, again, I was made fun of all the femininity as a kid, but that led me to become Imani. Imani. All my public speaking and speech and debate, all those things led me to further my career as Imani. And now that I'm not doing it, I'm taking those things, I'm crafting my ass off. I'm
Right.
getting ready to, once this is over, I'm looking for me a job as a costumer. The last person I interviewed as well was a fashion designer. And I'm sitting there like, bitch, once you get the sewing machine, honey, but look what you've done with a hot glue gun and some hand sewing.
Mhm.
So I'm proud of that. And at 42, I'm seeing I don't, even my stint is doing these podcasts. I didn't want to bring Imani into it because I'm like, this is me. And everyone's like, oh, when are you going to do one as Imani? If it's apropos to be Imani. But first of all, I'm not putting all that on because, baby, that's a lot.
It's a lot. It is.
They don't exactly. They don't realize that. So we've gone over, but we talked about, where are you now with balancing everything out?
Well, like I said, there's really no balance. I have no. I have no promise in my heart that I will find love.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, at 42, I feel like love is an experience that I probably would never get to experience in my lifetime. Being in a relationship with a guy that I'm attracted to is probably an experience that would never happen in my lifetime.
Right.
And
Really quick, Stephen, have you ever, either now or then, felt that your summer breed, like you had to choose your career over relationship?
well, at one point, yes, but probably about 9 years ago, maybe even 10 at this point, I just
Hmm.
kind of decided to do pageants only. So summer breeze has really not been a factor in my life
Okay.
within these last 10 years. Summer breeze played a pivotal, a major role in my 20s because that's when summer breeze was being created and cultivated. But within the last 10 years, I've worked in corporate America. I've only really had the time to dedicate to one pageant a year, maybe two at most. So I really haven't done drag within the last 10 years to the point where I can meet a guy and he would be like, nobody would be able to run up to him and be like, "Oh, that's a drag queen." I ain't even got them worries no more. So because I
Right.
don't even do it enough for that to even happen. So just but although I haven't done it in the last 10 years, I don't know if it's my mind that I have shaped to think that I would never find a partner or find love like that, or
Mm.
if it's just fact. I don't know what it is, but it's becoming fact. Maybe I'm shaping my own universe by thinking that way, but I honestly I don't foresee me ever being in a loving relationship with anybody because I don't attract anybody. Like, the guys that I'm attracted to are never attracted to me.
Right.
So it's like, well, we're never going to go anywhere here. So, uh,
And the ones that are attracted to you, you're not attracted to them. So, my sister Javon, she's on here, and she tries to play matchmaker for me, but I've kind of given up, and I'm trying to hold on, but I felt that I can get a man if I were to transition, or I could get a man if I stop doing drag completely. Because again, we've had that conversation. I've had that conversation with the, or I'm the friend, or if I tell someone I'm attracted to them, then they think I'm playing or I'm being funny. And I kind of get it. And I've had to step back because I've been told that a few times, because I am saying it with the laugh to soften the blow of them saying, oh, no, you're not my type. So, well, let's go on a date, or, oh, I see you as my sister. And these be the hoes. And I'll be sitting there like, you would rather. And so I had to learn to do, like Monica said, and don't take it personal. And so I'm working on, again, me. I feel personally that you I can't have it all. I'm enjoying my career. And so I'm like, okay, let me invest in that.
Mhm.
I've had long-term relationships, I've had short-term relationships, but in these last 10, 30, since I turned 30 and things like that, I just don't see it happening because they can't get over the illusion of Imani. And now to step back, I'm like, is it them? Is it me? Or is it both of us? So now I'm in that process trying to weed out what was it? Was it them? Because again, and Summer Breeze and Imani, we social butterflies. You know, everyone wants to talk, and again, we're gonna do all that because we're in character and costume. But me, Armand, I'm like, I don't want to be bothered. You know, so I had to balance that out. You know, and again, these are things that we don't talk about. Um, I pray that the young girls, both the girls on Rue, because it's a different generation. Let's call it what it is. You and I are both. I'm 41 and you're 42. We both come from a different school of drag.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't believe, and it's no offense to any other girls, but some of these girls are microwave queens, meaning they throw on a wig, they throw on some hips, some titties, and boom, now I'm the old bitch in the room. I so feel like Miss Noxzema Jackson. Oh no, baby, you're just a drag princess. You're not gonna come because once you've done the work and you made it, to a certain level, it's like, girl, what are you doing? Like, and everyone wants to be the same. Everyone wants to emulate whatever. Like the numbers that I perform, they're mixes, they're individual. My lip sync is on, my costuming, everything from the way I enter, the way I move to a sound. That's because I learned from some of the best drag and transgender performers. Rest in peace, Miss Kiwi. So many people who taught me. Yes, Viva, you know what I'm talking about. I so wish Viva. I just got with Viva commotion. So she couldn't get on this conversation, but we can get on part two, Viva. But and you don't want to be that old bitch in the room trying to school the girls. But mama, come on now. When you go to a gig, if the gig say 7:30, bitch, you should be there at least by 7. You sit down, whether your space is this big, you put all your stuff out, and you're not running around. Bitch, I already know what I'm doing. A lot of the girls, I don't understand it. Bitch, not until they call my name will the girls see me. I come in a nice little, your walk around outfits. That's how I was taught. You have your clothes. You don't perform and walking around in the clothes you performing in. That's tacky. But some of the girls, either they're not taught that, and I also understand because I was, to an extent, when you're a certain age, can't nobody tell you nothing. You got to fall before you can walk. And so I get it. And I've tried to bring girls up and say, okay, let's do it this way. In my drag school, honey, it was horrible. I'm like, we're not doing nothing until you know your words, baby. If mama gives a hoop and a holler and an inflection, because you're not coming up under my titties
Oh,
looking a mess. That's not what we have. And if you want to come through Imani Phoenix's school of drag, you're gonna put in the work. You're gonna be able to push through because you're dealing with being a person of color. You're dealing with all this, and it's so sad that our community has so much stigma and so much separation. Why am I more respected as a drag queen than a plus size gay black man? I can't answer that question.
uh, well, the I've never had any of those experiences. Um, I got my chops in St. Louis. The girls who were already established in the city, They,
Mm-hmm.
they hold your hand for so long and guide you to where you need to go, and after that, they let you go on by yourself.
Right.
Uh, and like I said, I've always pretty much been a live performer, so that's something that it made me stand out from a lot of other of the girls that was performing in the area.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we got a good question here. I don't know if she's still on here, but is it Javon Shea
Yeah,
Lucci?
Givenchy. Mm-hmm.
So Javon Shea Lucci is saying, "Are you attracted to you?" So if
Yeah.
that is
That's
worded,
my sis that as she's been trying to I can say now I am. I couldn't say that before. Hell, I'm still working on it. So it's a second by second, honey, minute by minute thing for me.
I don't know if I'm attracted to me. I love me.
Hmm.
I love who I am. I don't know if I ever had to look in my mirror and say, "Ooh, do I want to have sex with me? Like, am I attracted to me?" I don't
She's
know.
still there. My sister's still there.
That's an
I get
odd
that question
question.
because that's for me personally. And I've done workshops and I've talked to people. If you because some people have this big old laundry list of, oh, my man got to have six figures and my man got to have a six pack and got to have, and I ask those people, if you were to take that same list, would you be able to date yourself? And so we all have, or what we think are standards. So I get where she's coming from. I'm learning to be more attracted to myself. Like me, I don't drive. I've never had a driver's license. I'm barely going to get my driver's license. So how or who am I to say, oh, well, my man got to have a Benz? Bitch, let's get on the bus together.
Well,
So that's a go
I
ahead.
agree because with me, I've never expected somebody to bring to a table that I couldn't bring to it.
Hello.
So I've never
And that's
had
something we learned as we get older.
right, and especially with my career, I've always been a high earner.
Hmm.
I've made close to six figures. I haven't quite gotten to six figures, but I was damn close. So I've always made good money. So I never thought that, oh, my man got to make this kind of money. But now I did say, if I found a man that made the kind of money I made, oh honey, we was about to set this place on fire because that's how you grow wealth. I'm
Right.
all about growing wealth and all of that kind of stuff. I'm all about, establishing not only just a relationship, but establishing a lifestyle,
Hmm.
that we both can live and enjoy and all of that. But, it got to a point where I started understanding, well, I'm gonna have to do this on my own, you
Right.
know. And I was even guilty with holding myself back from a lot of things because I didn't want to over earn because I felt like that would just really intimidate people.
Hmm.
So it got to a point where I said, you know what, forget it. Earn what you're gonna earn, do what you're gonna do, and move forward,
Right.
with life.
Yeah, because like I've sat back and I'm like, okay, again, I know what I bring it to the table. I can feed myself and feed other people. But I've also suffered from people pleasing and codependency. And so now I'm working out those issues and I'm working out pulling up the carpet and figuring out where does these things come from. But again, I've been holding myself back because I was scared of what other people would say. Like I had people, family members, and other people tell me, "Oh, you're too extra, you're too much," and it bugged me, and it still bothers me. I'm still trying to pull that up, and so now it's to the point, and I had to do it. I told myself the next person that ever tells me that, I'm going to look that person in the eye and say, "Are you upset because you're not enough?" And it just so happened to be one of the coworkers who was getting ready to have a team meeting. I'm signing in, and oh, every time you sign in, you got to sign your full name. You all don't have to do that. You're so extra. And baby, I gave her that one old. I said, "Are you upset because you're not enough?" I had to give it with a little laugh because they love giving it you a read and then want to laugh it off. So I gave her the same thing. Baby, it was dead silence.
Or are you upset because you feel that you're not enough? I think it's about how you feel about yourself.
Right.
Like I said, I went through my entire 20s not feeling like I was enough. I
Hmm.
went through my entire 20s not feeling lovable or worth loving.
Hmm.
And it was not a good, it wasn't a good place to be mentally.
Right.
And I spent my 30s trying to heal
Huh.
all of the damage that I
Hmm.
did to myself in my
Right.
thought process in my 20s.
Right.
Um,
Now I'm playing catch up.
and when you're young, especially when you're young, and even sometimes when you're older, when you're young, you tend to look for an outer source to love you
Hmm.
instead of you loving yourself. So I went, like I said, I went through an entire decade not
Hmm.
loving myself, not, not really
Right.
caring for the person because no one was validating me.
Right.
You're looking for validation outside of yourself, and it's not good.
Right.
Um,
I want to get, because we're good on time, but one of the questions coming from Tennille, my cousin, earlier, she wanted to know, how is it, or what have you experienced being a Black gay man in the industry of fashion design?
well, I haven't been in the industry for very long. Now,
Hmm.
some hearsay tells me that Black fashion designers don't get the spotlight that a lot of the white designers get. But we
Hmm.
know that this is the world we live in. And right now, white people are pretty much at the top of the hierarchy.
Hmm.
So they get to make the rules. So I don't think that it has anything to do with my talent. You know, the one thing that I focus on is not necessarily what it is, what it's like to be a Black man in the fashion industry. My focus is making sure that the product that I put out there is phenomenal and let my
Right.
product sell itself and speak for itself. And as
Right.
long as I do that, I'm gonna be happy. I had a love for two fashion designers when I was a kid that really inspired me to want to be a fashion designer, and that was Gianni Versace and Patrick Kelly. And
Okay.
Gianni Versace, because Gianni Versace just, he, to me, he created what we now call the supermodel, and he
Hmm.
really put that on the map. And as far as Patrick Kelly, is because Patrick Kelly was a Black American young man who defied all of the things that they said that he could not do.
Right.
Oh, he couldn't do this. Patrick Kelly found himself going from his hometown all the way to Paris, and his clothes made it to Paris runways as well as New York fashion weeks. So, although he died at a very young age, he was very impactful for the short period of time that he existed. So, that's my mission, is to be as impactful as I can be as a Black designer, no matter what the popularity says, who, what rule they say I can't do, whatever. I don't be thinking about that.
Right. One of the people that I, inspire and I'm inspired by is Andre Leon Talley. And I need to go out and get his book. And I saw his documentary on Hulu. And, I didn't know his full story at the time. And so I'm learning more about it. There was a scene where he's talking, and he was saying when he first was coming out, in the background, and now there's a whole, thing about him and Anna Wintour not really getting along and things like that. But
Mhm.
he was saying that he heard talks of them calling him Queen Kong,
Yeah.
referring to his size. And you see in his eyes how, even though that was years ago, it still affected him.
Yeah. Sting thing.
And it hit me because, there are people who say they love you, and as long as you're working, and you hate to, I hate to use the comparison, but it's like work monkey work. You're good. And I remember when I started out doing the bars and clubs here in Hollywood. I really didn't get my start until I went to West Hollywood. And it was like I had to get the stamp of approval from them. Even now to this day, my own sisters and things like that, I see it, but I'm not always asked to participate in a show because I was told, one person told me I was difficult to work with because I asked for, a certain thing, or I asked for a dressing room and things like that. And I hated to, no, let me not take that back. I didn't like to do the comparison, but when you're on set or when you're working for somebody, and it's sad that you're not treated well until somebody, but then also that has the opposite. So you're not treated well until you're dealing with people who don't look like you, but then you're the token. And as long as you're there to work, you're fine. The minute you say something, It's a big difference. I've experienced that personally. Have you had to deal with that, whether in St. Louis or here in LA? You know,
No, I have had a great, as far as my experience as being a drag queen, I've had really good experiences, except when it comes to pageantry. So when it
mhm,
comes to pageantry, you have a lot of politics that's intertwined with it. So you
right,
have these issues where the promoters don't want to crown you because you don't have the name that the other girl got, so they want to crown her, thinking it's going to benefit the system somehow. I don't know. But I can tell you what, I have seen it in the past where it never benefited the promoter or the system,
right.
but it
They want to
happened.
hire the girls that got the ruse name behind them, but those are some of those girls are unprofessional. We got a question right now from Darnay Blue.
That's my
Well, are
brother.
the, oh, okay. Well, he's really all right. Well, hi, sweetie. How are you? The question is, as a plus size drag queen, do you feel with the success that the polished glam shows like Pose has found that portrays runway caliber artists in the industry put an unfair expectation of what is acceptable to be beautiful in drag, particularly a black drag queen? Do you want to answer that? Because I definitely got
Well,
to.
well, I think that we put that pressure on ourselves before these shows even existed.
Right,
We put that pressure on us, and that's why these shows can come out like the way they come out.
right,
Where they give you these images of what they want the world to know drag is like, and
right.
some of these images are very true, and some of these images are very made up. But I will say, in regards to Pose, I have been completely entertained, and I just get taken up, when I watch Pose, because to me it captures a decade that was very detrimental to the gay community, and as well as very helpful to the gay community, because the 80s, not only, of course, everybody knows about the horrible HIV, situation. We all know about that. But you got the drag
But not
house.
everybody knows about it.
Well, I mean, if you're old
Yeah,
enough, you know. So but you got the drag houses that was invented. You got the invention of creativity. These people.
hmm,
Now, of course, the clothes that's on poles are already constructed. But if
right,
they go back to genuine house pageantry, honey,
right,
these people made that stuff by their hand. They
right,
they robbed some Saks Fifth Avenues too.
right.
I'm
Those are true. Those are true stories.
telling you. you know,
Right.
so it captures Pose captures so much that it just takes me on this trip that I am in completely in love with. So, but I honestly believe, as far as the standards of drag, we have put those standards out there ourselves before a RuPaul ever came out. Although RuPaul is also putting out a new standard. Don't get me wrong, that's a new standard of drag. These girls now don't want to wear tits or hips. You know,
Right.
no nails. These things was not happening
That's
when
blasphemy from where you and I come from.
baby. You couldn't get on nobody's stage and you ain't had no tits, no hips, and no nails.
No, no lashes, honey. No,
Oh
nothing, baby.
Lord.
You
So
know
this
it.
this this drag that RuPaul is putting out there is a new version of drag,
But
but
the
at
funny
the
thing,
same time, it's still very entertaining.
right? And that's a perfect word for it, because even both you and I are both in the industry. We can sit just like we talked about. The your episode on AJ and the Queen. We know the grit. What people fail to realize, especially even people in our community, if it had not been for the queens, drag queens, transgenders, cross dressers of color, there would not, I'm about to pull this history book out real quick. There would not be no Stonewall if it
Nope.
had not been for the drag queens, the transgenders, the cross dressers of New York. We have been the backbone, and yet we get thrown under the bus the quickest out of anybody.
But
And
like
it's
I say,
sad.
because we don't
we
make.
we're not speaking up. I was just having a conversation with somebody the other day, and they said, when people heterosexual, even some of our own people of color, under the umbrella, they think of pride. Unfortunately, it's become manufactured. It's become a gimmick. It came from a revolt of living your life in truth.
Right.
The reason why the brick was thrown at the Stonewall Inn bar was because the girls got tired of being beat and taken advantage of. And so, if you want to do your history lesson, whether you're heterosexual, same sex attracted, or not, look up the real history. Look up the story of Miss Marsha P. Johnson. Look up the real Stonewall. I
And they got
remember when
that
they,
on Netflix too.
right, I remember when that movie, they tried to do a movie a couple of years ago called Stonewall. They had, and it's the sad thing about life, and this is beyond just people, same sex attracted. People, white people can do stories without us. Unfortunately, we can't do them without them because our life, even if we do a story that's centered around people of color, we truth has to have something in it. But white people can do complete history. They can erase us from history, whether it's African American heterosexual history or same sex. I did my college thesis about the contributions of the African American same sex attracted person to the Harlem Renaissance. Even people, my teachers didn't even know, they knew of the Harlem Renaissance, but they didn't know that the founding forces were people like Langston Hughes and things like that. And so I showed them that. I'm very proud at 41 to have been brought up and under the wings of some people who taught me my history, who
Mhm.
taught me what it was. That pride is all, and now I jokingly say, bitch, I don't need a festival. It's me 365. But
Yeah.
I've been those people at 15 going to Sacramento to lobby for gay rights. And there was a time in California where sexual orientation was not included in the discrimination laws. And I and several other people went to Sacramento to lobby for that. And I sit back, I'm like, damn, I'm the old bitch in the room now. But I'm grateful, and I'm grateful to stand on those shoulders. We need to get back to our history. It's not just putting on makeup and twirling around, as people say, being a girl. It's more than that. It's a freedom of expression that heterosexuals don't have, but it's
Hmm.
also a solidarity in who we are. The creativity that people are looking at on Pose and RuPaul came from us doing what we do naturally and was told that we couldn't do it. So that's the history lesson right there, you
Okay.
know. But yeah, it is it's a balance because I'm grateful for these shows, but I'm also wish underneath it the lesson, just like, I'm very adamant about African American history. We have these generations of, of not knowing the people and what they went through, the people who were on the bus before them and things like that.
Mhm.
So my accountability and my responsibility personally is to try to educate in a positive way as much as I can and when I can.
Right. So, but like I said earlier, we don't control the narrative. And that's why we get what we get. That's why we can be erased out of our history. We
Hmm.
tend to get erased because we just don't have control of the narrative.
Right.
And the moment the truth comes out, then, I'll sit back and I'll smile because you can't completely suppress the truth. You
Right.
can think you are, but the truth will be learned. And, it's just something that they can't avoid. It's being learned every day.
Right.
So,
And I wish people was, again, I'm glad that we're having this conversation. But it needs to be talked. Everything, and everyone's and I get it. I'm grateful for Ryan Murphy. I'm grateful for Rue, but there's that underside, that struggle. Like, we know that that's production. What people see on television is a glimpse into the world that we live in. All those girls is not getting ready like that,
oh, no.
but you and I in the industry know what it is. And so, again, it's always about trying to find that balance. How do we express that to the public? Because I've been turned down from gigs because my name wasn't attached to being on RuPaul's Drag Race. Or the minute they always say, "Oh, you should go on RuPaul's Drag Race," and I say, "Baby, let me tell you about me, because it wouldn't be no Untucked with me, baby. Because the minute I get to Mama start to flapping them lips, it's a done deal." So I know, but I also don't want that to be my complete legacy. I
Right.
am more than just an entertainer. And I even, I knew that from the beginning. So that has been the balance. I've turned down more gigs because I didn't want to do the whole snatching your wig off or being made fun of or things like that. And the producers don't get it. They see they have this, oh well, we want somebody like it's sad because I'm too I'm too old to play somebody my age because I don't look my age. So most people my age are looking for the father figure, someone with their kids or something like that. But I'm too old to play gay. Like I'm like, how is that? Like I've seen castings where they're stopping the age range from 23 to 30. And I'm sitting there like, really? Or if I see something that is my age, it's of a certain stereotype, whether it's a father or in a heterosexual relationship. So I'm working on trying to find the balance, and I have other actor friends who are again helping me, as my show says, stand in my truth. And
Mm,
it's not always easy.
right.
It's not easy being vulnerable. It's not easy because you're on a journey. You're learning to love yourself. And for me, I'm at the point where I'm trying not to be upset at people who I felt took advantage of me or discriminated against me or disrespected me. Now that I'm knowing better, how do I deal with that? So it's always a constant pull and tug, but I'm grateful for the experience. So,
Mhm. Well,
you know.
Viva just asked a question about Drag Race, and
Mhm.
I don't know how long is this supposed to go because I want to make sure that I know what the time is.
What's your time limit? Because I know you 3 hours ahead, so we
Uh,
can wrap it up soon. I'm good. I get to talking. You see, we had to stop our talk the other time. So
right. Well, I do want to address her question. She says, "Do
yes.
you think Drag Race has destroyed how drag should be?" If I can answer that, I would have
Hmm.
to say RuPaul's Drag Race has no effect on my drag.
Hello, somebody.
You know, I understand the entertainment aspect of it all. So I appreciate it for just what it is. I do have I do take some issue on what what are you telling these kids that are coming out who may want to do drag, what what drag is. They do need to start wearing some tits and some hip pads and
And
some
have some
nails and lashes.
professionalism.
They need to have and that too. But I think that overall or ultimately it has no effect on what kind of drag I'm gonna put out there because I have my brand. Just
Right.
like they have their brand, I have my own brand, and my brand is going to stay true to itself.
Right.
So
But and for me, I want to, because I don't like to use the word should on anything because it make what I would say is it is what it is. Rue is so far disconnected to a sense because it's not like when he first started. Like you worked with Rue and I've worked with Rue. It's very cut and dry. Boom.
mhm.
It's producers talk. So I get it. So Rue doesn't have that hand like he had in the first, I would say, maybe 5 seasons.
Well, I would still say that you, as the lead of the television show, should want to promote what
Right,
you're willing to put on yourself.
right.
Who ain't never got on stage
Mm.
without tits, without hips, and without lashes, without nails. Rue is done from head to toe. And yes, she may have a team of people putting that together,
But
but,
he knows the formula.
she's still done.
Right.
So why allow these
The
new
girls.
boys to come up on stage with no tits or no hips or both? It, it ain't, let's
It's
keep
it's become a circus because the girls get on there. They live for untucked. And I'm speaking from personal experience. I know girls who's on there, and I know, and you and I both know how it goes. The producers will come back and say, "Oh, so and so said this about you," or they'll make you relive. It's so far from what we see in reality. Again, we're getting a quick glimpse of what it, because the girls, honey, that the whole they don't do all that in the day, baby. One day they doing one look, then the next day, and it's a whole team of people. Rue barely talks to the girls. They're
right,
being talked to from producers. And then I've even gone further to see what that goes through the staying in the hotel, the putting the tape on the door. For me, I'm not doing all that. It's not worth it. For
Right.
some girls, again, I'm not knocking a girl. For some girls, they may find their way, like Shangela and other girls, they may find that foundation and make it work. And I applaud girls like that because, again, I was able to do it with the acting. I did a web series and boom. But for the other girls, some girls just want the name. One, who was it? Lashronja was like, oh, I just know. It was Willem. I just want to have Rue's stamp of approval. And I was like, and again, people think that the echelon of drag is being on the show. So
Well,
you and I are here to, again, we're going back and changing that narrative.
it has made them plenty of money. But on that note,
But them girls are not happy. I can tell you that personally. A lot of them. Do you know how much you and I both. I've not done the level of work that any of the girls, and I haven't done the traveling. But traveling is difficult. It's tiring.
but yeah, I'm really close with Jasmine Masters, so she does a lot of traveling. But Jasmine has a blast.
Right,
So
but Jasmine is my cousin too, and Jasmine has been doing it for years
yeah,
here in LA. So
so,
she's one of the few girls that can take that opportunity and make it beyond what the show is. Jasmine Masters was Jasmine Masters way before
right
she was
before
on
RuPaul,
RuPaul.
right? Exactly.
And the girls who can do that know that. Like
Mm.
those girls haven't lost themselves. The girls I know here in LA, well, the few of them have already that establishment. A lot of the girls let it get to their head. You know,
Mhm.
your brother has another question. You want to read it, or you want me
I
to read it?
found that through the experience of having the window into the lifestyle of drag and homosexuality that TV shows like Pose have given, I am more confident to speak my thoughts and live life without pressure of what the world deems to be correct. I can now accept those that are different in manner in lifestyle. To perform on a stage in all your splendid glory and creativity takes courage and strength I've never had. I
Mhm.
applaud your strength and I encourage any of you fabulous people to keep on changing views in the world. And he's very right.
Thank
That
you.
this is the reason, and this is the main reason that I do appreciate everything about RuPaul's Drag Race,
Right.
everything
Because I
about
couldn't do it, baby.
because they do give people the permission to live their truth. They give people the ability to be able to share with their families a part of themselves that you and I may have had to hide for a certain part of our lives.
Right.
You know, I remember when I moved into my own apartment, my mother had spent the night over to my house one night, and I went to the store. And when I came back home, she was playing my Continental Plus tape of me singing "I Will Always Love You" for talent. So when I
Mm.
walk in the door, I'm like, "Is that woman playing my drag talent?" so, so it's very surreal, to see just a few years ahead, we're at a place where these little boys can tell their families, "Hey, I want to do drag," or "Hey, I think I want to be a transsexual."
Right.
Hey, they're a. It's because of the things that's going on television that's pretty much showing the world that we are humans. We deserve to be able to live our lives comfortably, freely, and without apologizing about it.
Right.
We should be able to do this just like a straight heterosexual individual is able to live their lives unapologetically. We should be able to do the same.
Right.
So I appreciate my brothers for saying that. Thank you, but like I said, that's the exact reason why I do appreciate these shows like RuPaul's Drag Race and Pose, because I enjoy seeing me on TV.
Hmm.
I enjoy seeing something that a craft that I've appreciated for years on television. We didn't even know a RuPaul's Drag Race would ever exist when we started putting on hair and makeup.
Right.
I mean, so to see it on television these days makes me very proud. It makes me very happy that RuPaul thought enough about us, as well as whoever else was involved with that development, thought enough about us that we needed to have a voice on media, and because media tells a lot of story. White people have been using media against people of color for hundreds of years. Well, not
Right.
hundreds.
Before there was media, honey.
Right before there was me. So they use media against us. It shows you how powerful media is. So to have drag queens now able to do their thing on television, it's amazing to me. So
Right. And it goes back again to you saying, we have to change. We all have to do our part, whether how big or small. Me becoming the first drag queen of the Pasadena Doodah Parade and different things like that has opened up doors. But in opening up those doors, I'm also hoping that the message is, yes, this is the outside of who I am, but on the inside says, follow your dreams, follow what it is that you love to do. And I tell people as an artist, I've hosted lip sync battles where it was predominantly heterosexuals. And it was really interesting to see them come out. I'm old school, so I remember putting on the hits, honey. I remember old boy getting on there doing the Lionel Richie and Diana Ross.
oh
So when I
yeah.
got the opportunity, and that person is my good friend Trevor. We're going to be hosting our own talent show on Friday, but I questioned myself, am I able to do this? And then I was like, why not? Because of Imani, I've allowed myself to experience things that I may have been afraid of, and I'm working on doing it more. Wherever the wind may blow, but I will not know which way it blows if I never put my lips out there. And drag has allowed me to do that, beyond what I'm told by my size, by my color, by my ethnic background, by my social economic status. For me, it unites other people. And once they get a load of who you are, then I'm praying that, and I've had that experience, that they look beyond the heels, the titties, and the makeup, and they see a person just trying to be them. I always say, if you have a talent for painting with bird shit, no one will believe in you until you say, this is my talent. And then it again, it goes back to, like, I was ashamed at first. Oh yes, I'm a drag queen. Now this is what I do.
Mhm.
I enjoy what I do. And now, again, I've had other help from Rue's show and things like that. But again, it was like a stigma. It is not as much as it is now. But before, especially, gay macho men, they felt our femininity and drag put a light on them being gay men. Oh, well, and we all have that down, like a transgender would say, oh, well, this, but, or at least I'm not gay, or at least I'm not a femme. And I'm just like, why do they use that as a negative light? Why not
Oh
embrace
yeah.
all of us?
And when they reach you, they oh drag queen. Oh, but you just tipped me like a week ago. You know,
Right.
it's
Are
like,
you just mad because you look like a football player in a dress and you
oh,
wish to be up here?
all of that.
Right.
But I am going to have to go.
Yes,
I
darling.
have had a wonderful time doing this. This has been a wonderful experience for me. I hope I can do this again. Maybe have
Yes.
different topics, but whatever.
Right. Well, I'm open. I'm enjoying this, social distancing. I'm enjoying my Zoom. Honey, I done got me a new camera. I got my little Janet Jackson headset on.
Really?
I've been doing my podcast. And so I'm now enjoying ways to communicate. This Friday, if you have a chance, I'm promoting my show. So this Friday, at 6 o'clock, I'm hosting myself with Mr. Trevor David Hutchins. We're hosting Zoom Talent Room. So
Mhm.
I'm inviting talent artists. If you sing, you dance, honey. If you want to shoot fire from your titties, if you got 5 minutes to do it, I want people to have that opportunity. As much as I was given the opportunity to share my talents, I want other people to have them. So I'm opening it up. We're going to do a talent show. I don't care what it is. And also, I'm not charging people. I want you to do your talent, promote yourself, and enjoy what you do. So if you're listening, if not, but Friday from 6 p.m. here on the West Coast, 9 p.m. on the Eastern, Zoom Talent Room, let me know. Stephen, thank you again. Again, let us know how we can get in contact with you. Once you do get back in LA, because we've been trying to get these dresses for me down packed, honey. So, I got to sit in your room, honey.
They can find me on Instagram at Fashion Drag 77, just like it sounds. Fashion Drag 77 on Instagram. So definitely follow me there.
All right, my love. Thank you so very much. I know what time is it over there, child?
Very late here. Right here. It's 12
Right.
late.
Ooh, baby, you about to turn into a pumpkin.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so very much. Enjoy the rest of your time. We will talk soon. Again, thank you all for tuning in. This has been a wonderful experience and opportunity. Also, if you have a topic that you would wish to discuss and would like that platform, hit me up. Standing in Your Truth is exactly what I plan to do, is allowing people to share their life experience. I have some other shows coming up, some that were put on the back burner because of me not being in the studio. So I'm really excited. I'm open. I'm easy and accessible. Hit me up. Let me know. Let's get out there, love each other, love ourselves,
Yes.
and make it do what it do. So everyone have a
All right.
wonderful and blessed day.
Have a great night.
All right, Seven. We'll talk soon, sweetie.
All righty.
Let me see.